welcome to another video. So this time we are driving the 2019 Mercedes-Benz E350 AMG Line. This is the highest spec Mercedes-Benz E-Class, W213 E-Class, which you can buy in 2019 aside from the AMG 43, 53 or 63 variants. So it has the AMG style body kit outside, different bumpers, more aggressive front end, the three-pointed star in the grille. You get nice LED lights in front, which at night give you a nice startup pattern. It gets 19-inch wheels outside, 35 series, very wide tires. I think it's 275 at the rear, 245 up front. Surprisingly, it's comfortable on these 19-inch wheels. In terms of interior, it has this nice cream tobacco or tan colored leather as an option. AMG Line here in Malaysia features sports steering wheel with a slight flat bottom. Kinda used to it. It's very small size for a large car, and panoramic sunroof. You get the nice double screen here, display screen with infotainment system. It still isn't touch like the new A-Class is. You still get the finger D-pad and all, which you know, if you've seen my previous video, not kind of fancy. Actually, it would work if you're left-handed and you easy to write input with your left hand, or ambidextrous, or the car has a steering wheel on the wrong side of the road. It's a left-hand drive car and you have control with your right hand. So on that point, this D-pad may work better if you're left-handed or the steering wheel is on the other side. So anyway, it does have its rotary controller still. This is like half and half. It isn't like the new A-Class, which has the Hey Mercedes user interface and all, where you can give it voice commands and all. This still has the normal input, which you need to do it by the rotary dial or the touchpad or via the fully functional sport steering wheel here, which has everything you want in terms of display, how much fuel you're consuming. You've got your cruise control, everything. You've got pedal shifters for that moment where you just feel like you need to drop gear. You're right, let's drop a few gears. So everything works well here in terms of what you want in a full-sized premium sedan. You've also got the sunroof there, which actually is very nice to have that open, that very airy feeling this cabin gives you right now. Very, very comfortable cabin. The seats are great. They're sport seats with full adjustments. You can have their memory seats, of course. Full adjustments, easy to get comfortable in, even for me. Boot space is huge because it's a E-Class. But in terms of how it looks overall, you may note the similarities between this C-Class, E-Class, S-Class. So while some people say it's like a Russian doll kind of thing, I think if you're a hardcore, die-hard Mercedes-Benz enthusiast, fanatic, you still can differentiate between the cars. The S-Class is, is humongous, huge. This E-Class seems to be, it's full size, which means that if you're talking about in normal, how big is it? It's a D segment sedan in terms of size. So the C-Class is smaller than this. You could actually differentiate it easily by the shape of the boot line, how it looks from the rear. This E-Class seems to have a bigger boot line. It's like you're comparing different sizes of behinds in this car. So this behind is bigger than the more svelte and streamlined C-Class. Front, outside, the lights have the dual LED daytime driving lights. It means it has the two shape instead of a single line like the C-Class. So all of these little things differentiate it from the C-Class in terms of how the overall styling is done. It's still a traditional style sedan, saloon, in which that you have a long bonnet, quite short rear boot, Nice spacious cabin in the middle. The ride is actually surprisingly good on this. If you're not pushing it in comfort mode, it is surprisingly good. It rides on springs, actually coil springs, so it isn't air suspended like even the top of the line Mercedes-Benz E-Class, Mercedes-Benz, not Mercedes AMG. C300s are air sprung. This is actually coil sprung. So for something which uses coil springs, it is surprisingly good. There are how many settings? There are eco setting, comfort mode, sports and sports plus, as well as individual mode in terms of suspension settings and engine tuning and steering weight and how the aircon kicks in and all. So in comfort mode, which is what I'm in right now, it's extremely comfortable to just waft along where we are right now. We're just in town and we're just doing 50 kilometers per hour on the urban highway. Refinement inside this cabin, sitting inside at the back, in front as passenger, in comfort mode, it's very, very impressive. You somehow, with the amount of space given in this car, or any D segment sedan, you don't really need to go up to the higher level. In fact, other than for bragging rights maybe. Personally, I wouldn't need more than an E-Class. The S-Class is there if you don't know what to do with the money that you have. If you like to drive, personally, the E-Class size of car is just nice for you. The S-Class is to have a bit more pomp and grandeur in your life, and a bit more luxury, which is actually the same, like in some ways with this car. If you notice, it has these nice double very colorful screens. They look very good, very premium, very high tech. So there's no loss of whatever there. In terms of aircon vents, it mimics or apes the S-Class with its 4 nicely metallic looking middle vents, all very fantastic looking in terms of how it's designed. It is overlaid in this AMG line with carbon fiber look trim rather than any bit of wood. So it's quite a modern kind of interior with carbon fiber, aluminium, leather, very good, very high quality plastics, bit of piano black, and also that tan leather finish inside. So it all looks very premium and very modern. Actually, it's not like a English castle or English manor in that sort of way. So it's nice. It's a nice mix of luxury and tech fit into this cabin, and build quality of the materials used, the amount of whatever plastics they have inside it, how they put it together is very nice. This variant is also fitted with the Burmeister sound system, so it also sounds as good as a premium sedan can be. So no complaints about sound at all here. In terms of layout and controls, I'm so used to the Mercedes-Benz layout. It's very logical in terms of layout and all. Firstly, when you get into the cabin, the starter button is on your left behind the steering wheel. The steering wheel control is just here, so it's just right underneath, just in front of the starter button. So you get in, you adjust your steering wheel, your seats adjustment is here on the door panel. So it's just within reach, just above your armrest. And then if you want to control the gear, as usual, it's on the stock right behind this beautiful, nicely wrapped leather steering wheel. The middle part is just to rest your arm and to control the infotainment system with your hand. The thing about this car is that it is filled with a lot of active safety tech here. It has the usual blind spot sensors. It has also the cruise control, which has its radar, which also acts as this. It also has the collision prevention alerts, collision alert systems and all. So with that comes with blind spot sensors, 360. Of course, it also has 360 park degrees camera, reverse camera. It also has the lane keeping assist that comes along with this collision alert sensors and all. So lane keeping is quite good in this car. Blind spot is definitely something which I like these days. I like to use it so that it's easy for me to just, you know, use the signal and come out into traffic, and also I know there's nothing behind me. So that's a very good thing. In terms of lane keeping assist, which is like semi-autonomous driving, if you put it with cruise control and all, if you have your hands on the steering wheel, it will detect the lines of the car, the lines of the road, and guide the car within the perimeters of the lines, the white lines on the road. If you have the broken lines, which would mean that you are allowed to cross over, it'll just give you a nice haptic feedback is there. So it will just warn you that you're crossing over to the other side. When you signal, none of that will happen. But the best is if you're not signaling and all, and there's a double line on the road, it will actually cut the power. Say you're going about 80 kilometers per hour, it will actually throttle down on the power also, rather than just allow you to cross over into the opposite side of the road. So it's actually quite good in cases of emergencies. Of course, you can turn it down and all the sensitivity, but when I got this car, I like to run it in default mode. Whatever was given to me, that's what I run it. So in terms of anything with a double line or a single white line in the middle of the road or anywhere, it will not allow you to cross over if possible. So it will just automatically even cut the power off to a sensible level, make the car slow down. So while it might be dangerous if somebody is following you at the back, in terms of if everybody was driving at a normal speed, it is okay, because it's actually quite safe and all. So active safety in this car is up to a very high level. So on that point, active safety and passive safety is up to the fullest and all. ABS, EPD, traction control, you've got everything in this car. There won't be any complaints in terms of safety features inside this. So in terms of the drivetrain, rear-wheel drive, power plant is a 2-liter twin-scroll turbocharged 4-cylinder direct injection engine. It is also coupled to a EQ boost belt-driven starter alternator. This is not the same one as the one fitted in the lower spec, say C200, which is more like a bolt-on starter alternator without that belt. So this one actually makes more torque for the car. This car may be big, but put it into, say, sports mode, everything goes up a notch from comfort mode, which is very nice. Just nice if you want that a bit sportier drive. For most normal situations, it's not as hard in terms of ride, in terms of how quick the steering input is, quicker than comfort. Gears shift quicker, everything goes up a notch, but not as crazy quick as the Sports Plus mode. So the 3 modes are actually quite, you can differentiate the 3 modes quite easily. So it's nice. So now I've just put it into sports mode. Hopefully I can use the sports mode. But if you can see from the videos, we have been using it during our night session, and I've been using it a bit here and there. So it's very nice in terms of throttle response and all. In sports mode and in Sports Plus mode, the throttle response of this 299 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque engine is actually surprisingly very good in terms of it being a performance or sports sedan. So what's given in terms of, say, you want it to be a sports sedan, put it into Sports Plus and it's really a sports sedan in many ways in terms of power delivery. The 9-speed G-Tronic is also very adaptive and all. It is, I think, one of the better 9-speed automatic gearboxes with a traditional torque converter in there. It's fast. It's really fast also in terms of how it kicks down and responds in sports mode. It's also so easy to reach, say, 100 kilometers per hour in this car. It's like short stretches, you're going from say about 50, 60 to 100, it's very rapid actually, it's quite rapid. You don't even need to use much of the shifters and all. In terms of kick down is very responsive. It brings a smile to your face definitely for sedan this size. Brakes are nice and firm. Initial bite is there. When you apply more pressure, it's all very linear and nice. So power delivery is very good. Gunning the car now. I have no complaints in terms of power delivery, even in sports mode. When you go up a notch to Sports Plus, oh, that's where you need to feather the throttle. Everything is like on its toes. The whole car is on its toes. It's surprisingly always a gear down from what you normally would expect it to be. Even ride has gone up a notch. It's actually more nuggety. The ride is more firm. Everything is definitely up a notch in terms of harshness and all, but in terms of body control, hardly rolls in corners. In terms of power delivery, it's so nice to be having 400 Newton meters of torque and an additional 150 Newton meters from the EQ boost system. So the EQ boost system helps out in torque. So when you're going on this, you're just holding on to the throttle, giving it a bit of boot and all. It's actually just sweet enough to give you the additional oomph that you want when you need it, when you really need it. When you're in Sports Plus especially, oh my gosh, this car is so sweet in Sports Plus. In terms of say cornering with this car, you're going out of a junction like say here, give it full throttle, traction control will come on standard, but it's surprisingly rapid. I've got to slow down already because I'm already hitting 110, and that's like so short a stretch. It sounds fantastic also in Sports Plus. It's like the car somehow has a nice rotty V6 sounding engine. For what reason, I have no idea, since it's just a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. So with this car, you will never get something like this, say even in an E200. All this rottiness comes from that buying an E350, I suppose. The price you pay for buying the top of the line Mercedes-Benz, basically you get better stuff in it. In terms of handling, now when I first tried out this car, I thought that I would need to drive it like say, oh, it says an AMG Line, it is a 350, it's top of the line. If you saw my previous video on the C300 AMG Line, so I drove that, I enjoyed it thoroughly because it actually, I could have taken it by the scruff of its neck, thrown the car into a corner, and it actually will work itself out. It is so sublime in some ways for a sports sedan. I thought that this was a bigger version. However, in terms of driving this car, I could not drive it like that in some ways. I couldn't like take it by the steering wheel. I couldn't just hammer it through the corners. I needed to actually take my time. Okay, maybe most likely because this is a bigger car, but for a very big car like this, for a full-size D segment luxury sedan, it is surprisingly good. So what you need to do is actually take it a bit slower in entry speeds and just mash it on the way out the throttle. So entry speed is like slow in, fast out, traditional rear-wheel drive style of driving, and it's all fine. Feed the steering wheel a bit more into the corners. It needs a bit more delicate handling compared to taking it by the scruff of its neck and throwing it into the corner. So what you need to do with this car is to don't throw it as hard as you would like, but learn how to drive the car, put it in the correct mode, gearing and all, use the pedal shifters, drop down a gear or two, or use the brakes, which are actually surprisingly good in this car, and throw it down the road. So when you corner, go in a bit slow. When you reach the apex, give it all you got, then it's fine. So grip is fine because it has definitely nice wide rear tires, and also it's very nice in terms of how you want it to do in the corners, and it does blip on the downshift by itself. So it's, oh, it's so sweet. brings a smile to your face, definitely. Personally, I would have liked it to have a bit more front end grip. It does understeer a bit earlier than what I would like. Yeah, I mean, you've been hearing a lot of things that for me, understeering. It's all about the front end grip. It's not as planted as, say, the C300, because that's a lighter car and all. This has a bit more weight to it. Most likely it's because of the weight of this car, this chassis, and this basically Mercedes-Benz setup, not Mercedes AMG again. Again, I'm saying these same words and all because do bear in mind, this is still a Mercedes-Benz. So what is paramount in a Mercedes-Benz is actually refinement and comfort, and basically giving you the best in terms of travel from A to B. So use it for what it is. In terms of comfort, it's bloody good. It is so sweet in Sports Plus. If you decide, even steering, the weighting is so nice. It's just nice and all. Good thing about this car is it is a traditionally coil sprung but electronically controlled damping suspension setup. So long-term cost might be actually lesser in terms of something we'd say air suspension, which is actually, come to think about it, if this car, when they do a revision and it is fitted with air suspension, it could be as good, as sweet a drive as the C300 AMG Line, which was recently facelifted. In terms of that, it's something to look forward to. If this car is already this good in terms of overall packaging and refinement, and also how it gives you a bit more excitement in terms of drive capabilities, it's definitely worth to see what this car, when it is actually facelifted a few years down the road. Impressive car indeed. If you have a chance of owning one, buying one, trying out one, I really suggest that you do. It's very highly recommended, this E350 AMG Line Mercedes-Benz. So with that, let me just wrap up this review by saying do subscribe to Motoring Malaysia for more stuff like this.